Welcome to Chief's C4 Podcast, where cops, cars, and current events are the preferred topics of discussion. Kyle McPhee, aka The Chief, is a retired 31-year veteran detective of the Michigan State Police, an avid hot rod builder, an automotive connoisseur, a Native American, and the proud father of two sons, both members of the U.S. Army Michigan National Guard. This podcast is not intended for the weak in heart. Alpha males are always welcome, and honest opinions are always given. Now buckle your seatbelt. You are now entering the no snowflake zone.
Welcome, folks. Welcome back to the Chiefs C4 Podcast. Great to be with you again. Today on the show, we are going to talk about my recent trip to Florida. And my wife and I got away for 5 days, left Michigan and went down to Florida. Had a good time. Could have been better. Things were a little, I've always been a fan of, we used to drive when the kids were young, and we did the spring break thing, which I was not a big fan of. I hated it going with I hate doing something that everybody else is doing at the same place at the same time. I can't stand that. I don't like going in traffic when everybody else is in traffic, so I always tend to travel off days, off hours, where there's less traffic and that kind of thing. I like going to places off schedule when it's not popular for everybody else. We couldn't do that when the kids are obviously in school, but now we can. So in January, we booked our trip at a resort down in St. Pete's Beach. We've been there before, about 5 years ago, and we decided we were going to go down there again. So we booked it back in January, and we went to a place called the Serrata Beach Resort. We stayed there before, upgraded this time a little better. Was supposedly told over the phone that we were getting a ocean side suite, balcony, whole bit, right? Paid extra for kind of a birthday present, if you will, for my wife, and paid a little extra, so I thought I'd upgrade a little bit. Anyway, we start the trip out, and here we live in Lansing area. So Lansing Airport is our very small airport, but they don't have direct flights out of there. You always have to lay over. We don't like to lay over. We like to do direct flights. So we drive to Detroit Metro Airport, and you can get jump on Delta and direct flight right to where we're going in Florida most of the time. So we're excited. It's been a rough lockdown. It's been a rough winter, not weather-wise, but just a long winter, especially for my wife. She hasn't had a vacation in a while. She's been working partially from home, partially from her office for the state of Michigan, and so she was pretty burned out. We needed to get away from the weather. Just kind of hasn't turned real warm here in mid-Michigan yet. So we both like the sun, and so we take off. I think our flight took off out of Detroit at like 8:30, 8:15 in the morning. So we got down there plenty early and parked, and we were all in the gate, in the terminal, ready to go. We load up. Everything's great. The weather's fine. And we're looking at being on the beach drinking pina coladas in, 3 hours. And so everything went to plan, and we were over Florida, and my wife noticed on these little, the little gimmicks on the back of the seats that the screens, you can punch in the flight tracking status, so like where your flight is, and then have to show you a little real-time map kind of thing. I think I had earbuds in or something, or I might have been taking a nap or whatever, but she was looking. She woke me up and she said that we were over the ocean in Florida, and it showed that we were doing circles. And so The flight to that point was pretty decent. We didn't have a lot of rough spots. Once in a while, you get a little shake, but we didn't have too many rough spots. And then the pilot came over and said that he, in fact, had been circling over the water because he couldn't land due to the bad weather in Florida. And he was running out of fuel. And so he was in a holding pattern. So his next best option was he's going to avoid the storm that was going through the Tampa area, and he was going to land in Fort Myers. So he put it down in Fort Myers along with probably 30 other flights that were delayed in the area or in holding patterns. And when they got down, they didn't want us to get off the plane, and we were going to have to sit on this plane and wait out the weather. Well, that didn't last very long. People were a little irritated at that point, and they weren't prepared for the amount of people that were in the Fort Myers airport. It's not a big airport. They finally agreed to let us off and then come right back on. And once you got off, it was chaos in the airport. I mean, it was wall-to-wall people sleeping on the floor, lines as long as football fields at every restaurant and bathroom, and it was a sight to behold. So we were able to find a little pizza joint, grab a piece of pizza, a bottle of water, and hit the restroom, and then we had to get back on the plane. And there we sat for 3 to 4 hours. And we were gonna, I was thinking maybe, hey, let's just get off. We'll go rent a car and I'll drive up to the Tampa area or St. Pete's Beach where we were going to stay. And the problem with that was we had, for the first time, we normally don't do this, we checked a bag. And they weren't going to give us our luggage, so we would have had to track that down after the fact. My wife said most of our clothes and everything else was in this bag, so we thought we'd just wait it out. And we did. We waited it out 4 hours or so. I think pilot finally came on and he said, you know what, we're just going to go. So I give him credit. He got the plane back up through a pretty heavy rainstorm, but from Fort Myers to Tampa flight, I don't know, it's 40 minutes, whatever it took. It was brutal. It was brutal. That plane was bounced all over the place. We went from the level to the drop and back up. And then when he hit the airport, he came in hot and that thing skidded down on the runway. And he did a hell of a job maintaining the control. But my wife and I were both kind of wondering, what the hell was going on. But we made it a lot later than we wanted to. It kind of took up most of the first day of our trip. And that kind of set the tone for the whole trip after that. We got off the plane and started drinking right away. So, but at that point it was 7-8 o'clock at night. We ended up eating dinner around 8:30, pretty late dinner. And that just kind of set the tone for the whole trip. And then we got to the room and it wasn't what we were promised and wasn't what we thought we paid for. It was basically a room that had no balcony other than the common balcony with everybody else that you walk down, and the overlooking of the ocean was actually from a side view halfway down a building, so it wasn't what we thought. And my wife was a little disappointed in the accommodations there, and everybody it was kind of the end of the spring break for kids, but there was a lot of 30-somethings there. It was still pretty busy, but the resort was way low on employees. Obviously, that has been an issue everywhere in the United States because of the COVID unemployment payouts and everything else, that people don't seem to want to go back to work. And it was quite evident at this resort. We, at one point, wanted to grab a couple towels, and they told us the resort was out of towels. We had to wait. They actually brought some to us few hours after that was told to us, but the restaurants and the bars that they had there on the property were really busy and they didn't have enough employees and there was a lot of frustration and that kind of thing. So what we did, like I always do, is find places off the resort where all the people are. And we ventured into St. Pete's a little further up by Madeira Beach, found some good restaurants, some shops where my wife could shop the next day. And we had a couple really good days of weather. She's a beach warrior. So we hit the beach, I think 2-3 days and at least 2 days in a row, and it was over 80. Super. Another big thing is they, part of your package was you're guaranteed these chairs, your lawn chairs, your chase lounges out on the beach. Well, we got out there at, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, and they were all out. There wasn't any available for us. So, I'm like, wow, what happened? So the next morning I was watching, and the people were going out to the beach and reserving the chairs at like 8 in the morning. And then they'd put them on where they wanted them and then walk away. And then that's kind of what everybody was doing. So I ended up doing that. But we went out to the beach earlier the next day and we were able to get chairs. But it was just kind of a pain in the ass all the way around. I think more of a private, inclusive, all-inclusive place would be, you wouldn't be dealing with all the crowds and the bullshit and all that kind of stuff. But it was good to get away. We had, I think the third day there was a little cloudy. We did a little shopping run up to John's Pass, it was called. Pretty cool place. And while my wife shopped and this street was full of shops and that kind of thing, I found a local cigar shop right there in the strip that had a bar next to it, and sat outside and smoked a cigar and drank a few vodka and cranberries while my wife shopped. So I was pretty happy with that overall scene. And we brought, I own a drone company now. For over a year now, we've had a drone services company since I retired, and I brought one of my drones with me, and so I got some good flight video and photos down there, and we're gonna upload those to the Great Lakes Drone Service YouTube channel. So check those out. We'll be posting some of those drone flights on that channel. So so we the flight home was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. There was some rough patches coming out of Florida for a while. It was bumpy, but once we got up over the Appalachian Mountains, it wasn't too bad. So we got into Detroit and made her home all right. But I think we're already thinking about our next trip down there. I'll tell you what was a huge contrast between the state of Michigan and the state of Florida. First thing is, as far as the COVID thing, they kind of leave it up to the citizens down there, whether they want a mask or not. The businesses all pretty much still said, we want you to wear a mask when you come into the business. But we went into a few businesses. One was like a surf shop. When we walked in, there was probably 10 people in this. It was pretty big. 10 people in there. Employees there was 10 customers and maybe 4 employees. Nobody had a mask on when we walked in. And I had one in my hand. I was going to put it on, and I looked around and no one had them on, and they were doing their thing. And so my wife and I were, didn't put ours on. We just kind of stayed away from everybody else in the store. And we'd spent some time in the store, and about 20-30 minutes went by, and people started crowding in the store. They started coming in the store. And so, at one point, people were starting to get a little bit closer, and I noticed there's probably 40 people in the store now. And kind of just on their own, everybody started putting a mask on them, and we were fine with that. We just threw them on and went about our business. And so they just have, I think, a little bit different of an attitude down there. And then a lot of businesses, or one business in particular, I think I took a picture of it. On their signs outside, they were thanking the governor, their governor. I would press anybody to show me a sign like that in the state of Michigan. It's not going to happen. So anyway, it was a big contrast, and they seemed to really support their businesses down there, and it was busy. It was definitely busy. So I don't think it's the Florida of the past. Of course, we weren't down there during the actual spring break college spring break. We try to stay clear of that. But as you can see, I came home with a new jersey for the jersey wall here. I have my Hall of Fame jersey wall here. So Brady jerseys were all over down there. Gronkowski jerseys were all over down there. So I just happened to pass by and saw one of these Brady jerseys, which I had a Patriots one, a smaller size Patriots jersey, but I didn't have the Bucks, so I grabbed it. So price was right. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me, and so other than that, I'm still trying to wait for the warm weather to get here because I want to do some interviews. Some real interest. I don't want to just put Zoom interviews on here. I want to do some in-person interviews. And so once the weather turns up here, I can do some outdoor stuff. I like being outside and maybe doing some outdoor interviews and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why we're, I can do Zoom interviews till you're blue in the face, but to me, they get kind of boring. But I like talking to people, maybe smoking a cigar with somebody or having a drink or whatever. And so we're working on that. As soon as the weather turns here in Michigan, we're going to start getting those interviews done for the people that I have lined up. I think you'll like it. Should be quite interesting. Also, I'm always on the hunt for new jerseys here. I think I got one coming, but it hasn't got here yet. And I'm a big baseball fan. I always have been. While I was working, I just didn't have time to sit down and watch a whole baseball game. And I've started off this year. Of course, the Detroit Tigers are our home team, and big Tigers fan. So, in fact, my Tigers hat right here. I ordered a Lance Parrish number 13 Detroit Tigers jersey, and it's not here yet. I grew up, I was a catcher my whole childhood through Little League, high school baseball. I was a catcher, and I could play outfield and played a little infield and other positions, but most of the time I was behind the plate. So I grew up being a big fan of Lance Parrish for the Tigers. So found one of his jerseys. They're hard to find. There's not many of them out there. So I've ordered one, and hopefully that gets here soon. We'll put it up on the wall here. I'm running out of wall space, but we'll find something. You might be able to see over my shoulders here too is one of my other hobbies is large scale RCs. This car right here is called the Felony. And the Arma Felony, I go 80 miles an hour. And then on the car in front of it is the trophy truck, which is called the Traxxas UDR. That's an off-road truck, and that thing is just a beast. That thing will, go 50 plus miles an hour. So that's what I do. Again, all weather related. I don't like going out in 35-degree weather and trying to enjoy myself. So we're just waiting for the weather to warm up here so we can do some things, and we'll try to record them maybe and even do some streams and show you guys what we're doing. So what else is going on? I'm into fantasy baseball, by the way. I'm in one league. I think the prize for that is like $1,200 or something if you win the league. But I think there's 12 in that league. I'm in 5th place right now. So I got a pretty decent team. So I've been watching a lot of baseball. The Tigers are doing okay, but they're still struggling a little bit, but been watching a lot of baseball. I got time to watch baseball. I even subscribe to the MLB network, so I can watch whatever I want. Because what sucks is I try to watch the Tigers and they're always blacked out here. Major League Baseball has really got a market on how you can watch the Tigers. I have to go through an app, Fox Sports Go, and then use a television cable account to log into to watch the Tigers game. So my kid has a internet account for Spectrum, and his college, apartment is coming to an end here in another month or so. But I can use his cable account that we have online that we pay his bill through. We can use that to log in. And so I got to come up with a way after his apartment gets shut down for the year to, I'll have to get my own account for that or figure out another way. But it's hard to watch. I mean, you can't, even through MLB Network, they realize where you're at through your IP address or something. You can't watch your hometown team. I'm like, what's the point of having the MLB Network if I can't watch my hometown team? I got to watch it on a delay, or I got to watch some team I'm not interested in. It's kind of what's my money go for, So I got to reassess how I'm watching this stuff. But they get you one way or the other. So another thing I want to talk about is I got it's everybody. Social media. People go online and they're like post their picture and I've been vaccinated, and they advertise that they've been vaccinated, and I don't know why people do that, but I thought your personal medical records and HIPAA applied and all that kind of stuff, and you didn't have to advertise all that. But anyway, I went and got one shot. I did. I went and got one shot. Now that everybody's advertising it, but I didn't take a picture of the scene. But I did. Let's see, what's today? About 2 weeks ago, I went and got the Moderna first shot, and I think 9 more days from now, I'm gonna have to get the second one. But everybody I've talked to that's got the same Moderna one has got sick for a day or two afterwards. So I'm not looking forward to that. I've been feeling pretty good. So still trying to avoid the COVID, as they say. So we'll see. Trying to stay away from the crowds as much as possible, but I do not understand people that are outdoors wearing masks. I don't get it. I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I'm not wearing a goddamn mask outside. I'm not. Your body needs to breathe, and I don't understand. I see somebody riding a bike wearing a mask. And look, if you're one of the immune compromised people, I guess okay, but did you wear that mask before when COVID wasn't a thing, and the flu and colds and everything else was floating around, and hepatitis, and I mean, really? So outdoors, no mask. It's not happening. I wouldn't be surprised if our fearless leader here in Michigan tried something that silly, but our numbers are super high here again in Michigan. I don't understand why, but our local dictator here is saying it's because people are going to spring break and bringing it back, but every state goes to spring break, so I don't know. We've been locked down. Everybody says it's been because we're locked down, and now everybody's trying to get out, and I don't know what the problem is, but I don't think we're getting the vaccines out as much as they thought they were going to in Michigan. I mean, Florida was just sounds like they were kicking our ass in comparison. So I don't know what why the numbers are spiking here. And I read something today about she's making 2-year-olds wear masks. Schools are making these little kids wear masks outside during recess. Are you shitting me? Where's the science? Where show me a study where a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old has to wear a mask outside to avoid getting this. It's just ridiculous. And I think everybody's getting tired of the shit because now they're just making stuff up as they go. And as Rand Paul would say, a lot of the mask wearing is purely theater at this point. If I'm vaccinated, why do I got to wear a mask? If I have the ability to spread COVID after I'm vaccinated, then why did I get vaccinated? It's just ridiculous. So theater. A lot of it is it's how people feel, and theater. That's it. So, what else is going on? So I like to take a walk every once in a while, and I use earbuds, and so I had bought some of these Raycon wireless earbuds about a year and a half ago, and I don't know, they were okay. They sound good when they're playing, but there's a lot of intermittent. They cut in and out all the time, and I've tried to disconnect the Bluetooth, reconnect the Bluetooth, tried the distance from the phone. I put the phone right next to them, and it just cut in and out all the time, and it's very annoying when I'm trying to listen to something. So about a month ago, I went and bought the real deal. I went and bought some of these Apple Airpods, and they sound amazing. There's no question about it. They're well built. I like them. The problem I have with both of these is, why in the Sam hell do they make them so hard to get out of the case? There's nothing to grab onto when you open these. You can't grab them. They won't come out. I'm sitting here trying to wedge them out and pry them out, and I'm almost ready to fire these across the room. I was on the plane trying to get these in my ear. It took me about 10 minutes to try to get them out of this case, and I had to wet my fingers, try to grab them. There's just nothing to grab. I don't know who designed this case, but it's brutal. Come on, Apple. Make a better grip on those things so you can grab them. Put some texture on them or something so you can grab them. But I like them. They sound good. I noticed if it's hot out, I think I wore them on the beach one day. And I sweat like a sweat hog anyways. But if you get a little sweat in your ear or whatever, they were slipping out a little bit. But other than that, they sound pretty good, and the range on them is really good. So I'm pretty happy with the AirPods at this point. So. All right, folks. It was good being with you today, and stay tuned for the next Chief C4 podcast. Hopefully, we got some good interviews lined up for you coming up, and some interesting subjects who I've grew up with, and one of my coaches I played football for, and that kind of thing. So those are coming up. I know I've said that before, but it's kind of a weather thing at this point. We're just kind of waiting for the weather to break, and I need to, some of these guys where I want to talk to are 250 miles away, so I'll do a little travel to get to them. But I think it's better than sitting here doing Zoom interviews, and a lot of people can't deal with the technology and all that stuff. So coming back at you soon. Stay with us, and tell your friends and tell your family, and subscribe on YouTube to the Chief C4 podcast. Take care, everyone.